Kita akan simak presentasinya berjudul The Science of Goat Milk. Ini oleh Dr. Liz Carpenter. Dr. Liz Carpenter adalah kepala peneliti DGC yang memimpin banyak proyek penelitian terkait susu kambing formula. Beliau mengambil PhD di bidang imunologi dari Australian National University. Nah, rekam jejaknya sebagai peneliti ini udah nggak perlu diragukan lagi, Mom. Beliau ini banyak kerjasama dengan lembaga penelitian dan akademisi dari berbagai negara, serta telah mempublikasikan 22 publikasi ilmiah dan lebih dari 60 laporan penelitian dan pengembangan produk susu. Wah, ini udah keren banget nih pastinya Dr. Liz ya. Yuk kita simak bersama-sama presentasinya Dr. Liz Carpenter berikut ini.
Before we begin, I would like to reiterate that breast milk is the best source of nutrition for the infant. As a responsible formula manufacturer, DGC supports the WHO Code of Marketing of Breast Milk Substitutes. The material in this presentation is for educational purposes and based on scientific facts and peer-reviewed publications. Finally, I am not a healthcare professional and therefore I cannot give any medical advice. This presentation is a brief introduction to the science behind the use of goat milk as a base for nutrition. At DGC, we work hard to ensure we produce a safe and high-quality milk formula which meets all the requirements for good nutrition. I will summarize some of the key scientific studies that demonstrate that formula made from goat milk is not only a safe source of the nutrition, but it offers several important differences to mainstream cow formula. We know that human breast milk is the gold standard for infant nutrition. If we consider what makes up breast milk, about 90% of the milk is water. The remaining 10% contains all the nutritional factors required, with the major component being milk carbohydrate or lactose. This makes up over 50% of the solid nutrients in human milk. Fat contributes approximately 1/3 and protein 10% of the milk solids. For those children requiring an alternative to breast milk, we need to provide a formula that meets all their nutritional requirements. Goat milk is a natural source of the ingredients that our children need to grow and develop. In the preparation of our goat milk formula, we take full cream goat milk in its intact form and boost those ingredients required to ensure the nutrient levels are optimized for complete infant nutrition. We include specific fats from vegetable oils to complement the natural goat milk fat. And using these oils, we supplement the polyunsaturated fats and long-chain PUFA that infants require for complete nutrition. During formulation, we also add lactose and specific vitamins and minerals to ensure those levels that children require. Thus, the goat milk formula manufactured using full cream goat milk contains both dairy milk fat and vegetable oils, and it aligns with the macro composition of human milk. The manufacture of the DGC goat milk formula uses a less complicated process compared to that used with most standard whey-adapted cow formula. The natural ingredients in the goat milk are retained, with only the necessary supplemental ingredients added. In comparison, most cow milk infant formulae are manufactured as whey-adapted formula. These are manufactured from processed skim milk powder, which is milk in which the milk fat has been removed, and purified whey protein powder. In a standard cow milk infant formula, all fat is sourced from vegetable oil. The typical manufacturing process of formulas for infants and young children involves a two-step process. It starts with milk, typically from cows, but also from goats and other mammals. The milk is split into ingredients, mainly skim milk and whey. And these are dried as milk powders. These powders are then transported to another factory where they are reassembled, mixed with water, lactose and vegetable oils, vitamins and minerals to produce a whey-based infant formula. This process involves several steps of heat treatment in the manufacture of the ingredients and the formula. In comparison, the process used by DGC is simple, with only one step, ensuring minimal heat treatment to protect the nutrients and deliver the goodness of whole goat milk. The milk is processed only once into formula, adding only what is required compositionally while retaining the natural goat milk components. The main purpose for processing our milk is to ensure the safety and quality of our milk formula. All dairy products for consumption by children must be pasteurized to kill disease-causing organisms. Pasteurization is a heat treatment step. As with the DGC formula, the majority of milk formula are transformed through heat processing to generate a milk powder. When stored in an airtight container, the dry milk limits growth of disease-causing organisms and can be stored safely. Through careful planning, we ensure that we use the single-step processing to mix in the supplementary ingredients required by our young consumers, thereby optimizing the nutritional properties of the formula. Unfortunately, heating milk to destroy disease-causing organisms can have unwanted side effects on the milk. These unwanted side effects can include damage to milk proteins that can impact their digestion properties. Also, formation of new compounds, some of which have been associated with ill health. We also see reducing levels of vitamins, and the heat treatment can also introduce off flavors and alter the taste of the milk. As I mentioned earlier, DGC follows a simple one-step process to produce our goat milk formula. The milk arrives at our plant, ingredients are added, and the milk is processed once. We have measured the levels of a compound that is only present when milk sugars and proteins are joined together during the heating step. In this graph on the right, we show that the levels in DGC goat milk formula are barely detectable compared to those levels we find in a standard cow whey-based formula. The product on the right with the very high levels is a highly processed hydrolysate formula. These results demonstrate that the milk components in the DGC goat milk formula have not been damaged during processing. Another advantage of the minimal processing of our DGC milk formula is that we use whole goat milk. Remember that our gold standard human breast milk contains milk fat. And an interesting fact is that milk fat supplies about 50% of the energy the baby requires. By using whole goat milk in our formula, we ensure that 45% of the lipids in the product comes naturally from the goat milk, and we then supplement with the fats from specific vegetable oils which are necessary for growth and digestion. In contrast, most formula made from cow milk discards the milk fat and replaces it all with vegetable oils. Milk fat has an interesting structure that is of direct relevance to the health and well-being of the growing child. When nursing mammals secrete milk, the milk fat forms globules or balls of fat, and each of these is surrounded by a complex layer called the milk fat globule membrane, or MFGM. This thin membrane includes layers of phospholipids and has multiple different types of proteins held within that membrane. The MFGM is common to all mammalian milks. These naturally present components in the MFGM have been associated with multiple health benefits, including providing building blocks for brain cells, which can help with brain development. The MFGM proteins also support development of the immune system and that of the young child's gastrointestinal tract. The MFGM also contains a range of proteins that have activity against disease-causing bacteria, which will help to protect the gastrointestinal tract. In addition to the sugar lactose, mammalian milk contains a family of diverse, complex, bulky sugars. These are known as milk oligosaccharides, or we could call these fibers. Currently, more than 200 different fiber complexes have been identified in milk, and human milk has a wide variety of these sugar fibers. When consumed, the fibers reach the large intestine undigested and have been shown to promote the growth of the good bacteria, bifidobacteria. They also block bad disease-causing bacteria from sticking to and infecting the gastrointestinal tract. Goat milk naturally has levels about 6 times that greater than that found in cow milk, and these levels are retained in the goat milk formula. In addition to the macronutrients in milk, and by macronutrients I mean the proteins, the fats and the sugars, goat milk also has natural components that are also present in human milk. One example is the nucleotides. Now, nucleotides are the building blocks for DNA, which are present in every living cell. Nucleotides have been associated with improved development of the immune system, in particular, the antibody response following standard vaccinations, and also are associated with fewer episodes of diarrhea. So what we've learned so far is that by using whole full cream goat milk as the base of a nutritional formula, the milk will provide natural sources of both the major and minor nutrients required for growth. To ensure a safe nutritional product, that milk must be processed, but DGC follows a manufacturing process that leads to minimal damage to the components of the milk. The processing we follow involves a one-step process and retains the natural matrix of the milk, including the milk fat. The DGC formula has a smooth and mild, pleasant taste without the off flavours that can be associated with processed milk products. Already we have seen that there are unique compositional properties of goat milk compared to cow milk, with the enhanced levels of fibre sugars and bioactives such as nucleotides. There are also several physical properties of goat milk, which make it an ideal source of nutrition for youngsters who, due to their young age, have not yet fully developed their digestive system. We have shown in numerous studies that goat milk protein is more rapidly digested or broken down to the building blocks amino acids than cow milk protein. You may be aware that ruminant milk forms a curd when exposed to acidic gastric conditions, as you'd see in the stomach. Ruminants are cows, goats, and sheep. However, as shown in this photographic image of milk curds, the curd formed with goat milk is soft and fragile. Human milk also forms a soft, loose curd in gastric conditions. It is proposed that goat milk soft curd will be easier to digest than cow milk, leading to less regurgitation in the infant, and the goat milk will empty more rapidly from the infant's stomach, which is more similar to that with human milk. Recently, there has been discussion on cow milk, where the casein protein can be classified as A1 or A2. This relates to a single amino acid difference. This difference impacts on the casein protein structure and its digestion or breakdown in the gastrointestinal tract. Goat milk is naturally more like milk from cows with the A2 protein. DGC has sponsored several clinical trials to ensure the safety and tolerance of goat milk formula. The 4 completed infant clinical trials were based on the use of whole goat milk infant formula, with the results published in 6 papers. In all studies, the formula was the whole milk formula, and if the trial included a comparative formula, the cow milk formula was a commercially sourced standard whey supplemented formula. In the first study conducted in New Zealand, infants were randomized to receive either goat or cow milk formula and were followed for 6 months. The second study, which was a larger study, was conducted in Adelaide, Australia, and it included 2 groups of infants randomized to receive either goat or cow formula, with a third breastfed group was included as a reference. These infants were followed for out to 12 months of age, and as part of the trial, the study made detailed measurements of infant growth, bioavailability of nutrients, gut microflora, and also body composition. The third study was a growth study conducted in Korea, and the fourth, a case study for infants suffering from constipation. The clinical study conducted in Australia focused on infant growth and tolerance for the goat milk infant formula. The cartoon to the left describes the 3 groups of infants. Formula-fed infants were enrolled within 2 weeks of birth, and they received either the goat or the cow milk formula. And we also included a breastfed reference group. And the infants were followed out to 12 months of age. And they were fed exclusively the study formula or breastfed until 4 months of age, after which the caregivers were able to introduce alternative food. And study nurses visited the infants at the times indicated, i.e. 6 times during the 12-month study. This study confirmed that the growth rates of babies fed formula made with goat milk were well within the normal range for healthy infants and were comparable to breastfed infants. To assess the effect of goat milk on the infant's gastrointestinal tract and the health of that gastrointestinal tract, stool samples were collected from the infants at 2 months of age. The study showed that the bacteria in the stool sample of the infants consuming the goat milk formula were more similar to the breastfed babies compared to the cow milk formula group. We also have some information on the gastrointestinal health of the participants of the other clinical studies. In the New Zealand study, we showed an improvement in bowel motion frequency with the goat milk formula. In the Korean study, they also reported that the goat milk formula led to improved frequency and consistency of stools, more similar to the breastfed infants. Finally, the Spanish study showed that in constipated infants, feeding of goat milk formula led to reduced crying and improved stool consistency. Overall, these studies demonstrate that formula made from whole goat milk has a beneficial outcome on gastrointestinal health. The process to produce goat milk formula was first invented by DGC, and we have manufactured goat milk formula based on whole goat milk for more than 30 years. Nowadays, our goat milk formula is available in at least 30 countries throughout Asia and Europe. Science has always been fundamental to the success of DGC, and our research group has produced more than 35 peer-reviewed publications. These include, but are not limited to, publications based on outcomes from 4 clinical trials. Currently, a further 2 clinical trials are ongoing, based in Europe. To summarize, several decades ago, DGC developed a nutritious formula from whole goat milk. We have worked diligently to generate scientific evidence that shows that not only does goat milk provide the necessary nutrients required by growing children, but the New Zealand goat milk formula also contains natural bioactive ingredients. Through careful processing, we are able to retain these bioactive components. We have shown in multiple clinical studies that our formula is safe and well tolerated by children, and may have additional benefits on gastrointestinal health compared to standard cow milk formula. Our products are available in over 30 countries globally.